Howdy, my special little angels. Guess what? It's February. And so, in February, there's a lot of things happening, which, look, it's Valentine's Day. So, it's always good to get all kinds of chocolate on Valentine's Day. But, guess what's happening this month? This month is Clifford's birthday, Clifford the big red dog. So, actually, what we're going to do is read about Clifford. Ooh. So let's get started. Clifford the small red puppy. Yesterday my friend Martha said, "Your dog is very big and very red, but where did you get him?" I got my dog from a fancy pet store. So I told her how I got Clifford. When I was a little girl, she says, I lived in the city and I didn't have a dog. One day, the man down the hall called us and said his dog had puppies. He wanted to give me one. So here's little Emily. And she didn't have a dog here, but the neighbor next door wanted to give her one. So they went next door to look at the puppies. One puppy was smaller than the rest. I liked him. I said, "I want this one." The man said, "Don't take him. He's the runt, and runt means it's smaller. He will always be small and sick," he said. But I loved that little puppy, and he needed me. I decided to call him Clifford. So here's where she picked Clifford out. He's a little bitty puppy. And here's where the neighbors tell her not to pick that one. He was so tiny that I had to feed him with a doll's baby bottle. So here's little Emily Elizabeth, and she's feeding Clifford with a baby bottle. We got the smallest collar we could find for Clifford, but even it was too big. So here they are, they're at the pet store. She got a collar for Clifford. Oh. And then, when he began to eat his dog food, we had to watch him all the time. Because guess what? Clifford would fall in the dang dog food. So, he was so little that he was always getting lost, even in our small apartment. So where's he lost it, I wonder? Oh, look, here's Dad, and he's putting on his shoes, and you have a little bitty arf right there, like, woof. Because the puppy's like, wait a minute, I'm in the shoe. So here he is, boop, there he is. He popped out of the shoe. So, Daddy said Clifford was just too small. He didn't think he could even live through the winter. And I was very sad. That night, I let Clifford sleep on my pillow. I told him I wished he would grow to be a big, healthy dog. And then I told Clifford I loved him. So here's little Emily Elizabeth, and they're in the bed because she's letting him sleep on her pillow. Ooh. And the next morning, guess what? He looked bigger. So that's cool. He's growing. Little Emily Elizabeth was scared he wasn't going to make it. So he seemed to have an easier time eating dog food. His collar wasn't so loose because he started growing. So, then it says, in fact, by the time Daddy got home, the collar was even too small. Look how big Clifford is when Daddy got home. In just a few hours, he grew and grew and grew. Bedtime, Clifford's tiny basket seemed a little too small, too. So I wonder what she's going to do. So here, he can't even fit in his basket. So I wonder what she's going to do next. Ooh. So she let him sleep on the pillow again. That's cool. Boy, was that a mistake, Emily says. Because guess what? Clifford took the covers. So here's Clifford sitting on the pillow, sleeping. And here's where he's taking the covers. Next morning, Mommy thought Clifford looked different. Daddy said, I think he's growing. So you look, he's holding his bowl. Remember before how he couldn't even eat without falling in? Well, I decided to take Clifford for a walk. So Emma Elizabeth right here is taking Clifford for a walk. See how she's got a nice leash? Because it's always good to put a dog on a leash if you're going to take him outside for a walk. At the corner, I saw a big dog coming. I knew I should pick Clifford up so the big dog couldn't hurt him. I shouldn't have worried, Emily says on the next page. Here's the big dog coming around the corner, and then bam, here's Clifford. He's huge now. That dog is going to be no problem. So, Clifford really was growing. We ran home to show Mommy how big he was. Had our apartment door grown smaller, Emily says? Because look, Clifford can't even fit in the door anymore. Man, he's growing a lot in a couple of days. So here she's walking home, and before she got home, he can't even fit in the door. Daddy couldn't believe it. We put Clifford in the garden to sleep that night. So, here's him in the garden in the backyard. I hope he don't grow no more. Oh no. In the morning, the lady upstairs called. It was about Clifford. In fact, all the neighbors were starting to notice him. So here's the neighbor calling and saying, what's going on with Clifford? Why is he so big? And here's the neighbors, they're all calling. So, ooh, he started out small, but then he grew big and tall. So, the landlord called the police, and the police came to see Clifford. They said Clifford would have to go somewhere else because he was just too big. But how? He couldn't go through the door to get through the front no more, so the policeman had an idea. There was just one way to get Clifford out of the garden. In a moving truck and a big old crane. See the big crane and the moving truck? Well, we sent Clifford to live with my uncle who lived in the country. And he's growing still. Look, he almost got out of the moving truck. I was so sad, said little Emily, because she missed her puppy. And he missed her too. One day we got a great surprise. My uncle wanted Daddy to come and work with him in the country. We could be with Clifford. We moved right away, she said. So here's Daddy. They're moving from town, and Emily and the mother, they're moving from town to go work with the uncle to be with Clifford. Clifford was waiting on me. I said, Clifford, stop growing. You're just right the way you are. So here's Clifford, and here's little bitty Elizabeth. Remember how small Clifford was just almost a year ago, and now he's huge? Well, now he's big. That's how I got my dog. Tell me how you got your dog, Martha said. Forget it, Emily. So after she's already told us the whole story about Clifford, Martha wanted to hear the new story because she just met Martha. Here's Martha, and here's little Emily. So, that was Clifford, the small red puppy, when he was born. So, the next one says, Clifford gets a job. See, Clifford gets a job. Well, let's see what jobs Clifford has. Hello, I'm little Emily Elizabeth. Right here she is. If you don't live on my street, you may not know me. Our dog named Clifford is the big red dog. So here's Emily and here's Clifford. And he's a lot of fun to play with, says little Emily Elizabeth. Man, this book is kind of old. I got this when I was a kid, and guess what? It was my birthday this month, so that just means I'm another year younger. So, here's Clifford playing with all the neighbors. There's one bad thing about Clifford. He eats a lot of dog food. And when I say a lot of dog food costs money. And money's hard to come by. You gotta work for it. And here they are, they're spending all kinds of money on the dog food. Let me fix that. We were spending all our money for dog food. Mother and Daddy didn't know what to do. We will have to send Clifford away. Why are they always trying to send him away? Well, Clifford didn't want to go away. He made up his mind to get a job to pay for his own dog food. So, here's little Clifford. He's looking in the little window, and Mom and Daddy saying they need to send him away. And look, here's Clifford going to get a new job so he can pay for his own dog food. Well, oops. The circus man liked Clifford, so Clifford got the job. But they put him in the sideshow, and he just sat there, and people just looked at him. Clifford wanted something to do instead of just get looked at. So here's Clifford. He's at the circus, and here's the circus man. And he's saying he wants to do something more. So he's just sitting there and he wants to play around. He peeped into the tent and saw the little dogs doing tricks. And guess what? Clifford wanted to do tricks too. See? Here's where the little dogs are and they're wanting to do tricks. So here's Clifford sneaking a little peek upstairs in the tent. So he ran into the tent and tried to jump through the hoop just like the little dogs. Look, he looks like he's got a little bitty ring on his nose because he's so big. Well, it didn't work. He picked the ring man all the way up off the ground. In the next ring, Clifford saw a little dog riding a pony. So, no, man, I hope Clifford don't think he's going to ride no pony. So, he thought to himself, what, can he do anything a little dog can do? But he can't. Oh man, look. He tried to get on that there pony. And he was too big. The poor little pony is all smushed. But he's going to be okay. So the farmer thought Clifford would be a good farm dog. He said Clifford could work for him. First, Clifford rounded up the cows. So here's the farmer with Emily Elizabeth, and they're trying to figure out a job that Clifford can do. Then here's where he rounded up the cows. Ooh. Then Clifford brought home a wagon full of hay. He was doing so well, but then guess what? He saw a mouse in the barn. Clifford knew that rats on a farm are very bad because they eat all the food. So here's Clifford, he's pulling the hay, and here's Clifford, he sees the little mouse. See it over here? Let me put some light over here so you can see. Well, so Clifford chased the rat. Boom! All of a sudden he went through the barn and crashed the barn. And so the farmer's upset, so he sent Clifford away. Oh no, what's Clifford going to do now? Clifford and I started walking home. We felt very bad. Everything had gone wrong. So here's Clifford and Emily. They're sad because everything went wrong. Suddenly a car came speeding past us. And here's the car, and here's Emily Elizabeth. And what are they doing? Looks like robbers. Looks like they're robbing somebody. And that's a bad thing. Never take something that's not yours. And right behind it came the police car. They were chasing the robbers. It was robbers. So, here's the policeman. They're chasing the robbers. Clifford took a shorter route and cut through the woods with little Emily Elizabeth on his back. And caught the robbers. So here's the robbers, and he caught them for the police. I was very proud that the chief of police offered Clifford a job as a police dog. Now Clifford goes to work every day. They don't pay him money, but I wonder what they do. Every week they send Clifford a large lot of dog food, so now we can keep him. He isn't in that wonderful big little house anymore. Now he's in the country, and now he's got a job. He's working with the police, and isn't it wonderful how Clifford got his first job, so now he can support himself? Well, that was Clifford Gets a Job. He became a police dog. So that one right there. So, Clifford, the next one, Clifford's tricks. I guess now he's going to do tricks. That's totally cool. So let's get started on that one. A new family moved in next door. They may have a girl, and the girl may have a dog. So here's little Emily Elizabeth, and here's the neighbor next door with a new dog. The girl said, "Hi, I'm Martha, and this is my dog Bruno. He is a very big dog." So Emily snickered and laughed to herself and said, "Well, I'm Emily Elizabeth, and this is my dog, Clifford. He is big, too." Remember how he started out small? Well, Martha said, "Your dog may be a little bigger than Bruno, but I bet Bruno is smarter. I will show you some tricks he does." So here's little Emily Elizabeth while Martha is telling her that Bruno, see little Bruno over here? He does tricks. So Martha sent Bruno to the newspaper stand to bring her a newspaper. She's telling him to go get her a newspaper. And so I sent Clifford to bring me a newspaper as well to show Martha that I also taught little Clifford a big bunch of tricks. But the funny thing about Clifford is he brought the whole newsstand because he was so big. Ooh. So, Martha said, "Bruno plays dead better than any dog I know. He is pretty good." So here's Bruno, and Martha's telling him to play dead. But not as good as Clifford. I said, "Clifford, play dead." So here's Clifford and little Emily Elizabeth telling him to play dead. So he falls back and falls on his side and plays dead for little Emily Elizabeth and Martha. Look, he's falling over, and he's playing dead for both of them. So that was a pretty good, Martha said, but watch this. Martha said, "Speak, Bruno, speak." And Bruno goes, "Arf!" I hated to do it, but I couldn't let Clifford lose, so I said, "Speak, Clifford." And he said, "Whoa!" Huge, because he's so big. His bark is really loud. And it almost blew little Martha and Bruno over with it as loud as he was. Some people make such a fuss over a little bark, because look, all the neighbors started coming out to see what was going on. I told the policeman I wouldn't let Clifford bark again. I told them it was just a trick. They wanted to see Clifford do another trick, so I told Clifford to roll over. That, guess what, was a mistake. So here's Clifford, and Emily's telling the police how he does tricks, and he's rolling over. I wonder what's going to happen. Oh boy, let's turn the page and see. That was a mistake, because guess what? The police car was on the other side, and boom, he rolled right over it. That's totally not cool, because now how the police got to get around? We decided to take a walk while the policeman talked to Daddy about their car. So here's little Emily Elizabeth and Martha walking away while the police talked to Dad about the car. Martha said, "Maybe Clifford is bigger and a little smarter, but I bet Bruno is braver." We walked to the bridge, and I'll show you how brave Bruno is, because they're still playing the game who's bigger and who's better. So, Martha told Bruno to jump off the railing and walk, or jump on the railing and walk. And so here's Martha telling Bruno to get on the railing, and he was too smart. He wouldn't do that because he might fall in. So that's the one thing Martha couldn't get Bruno to do. So here's Martha, and here's telling Bruno. Bruno saying, no, I won't do that. So Martha did a foolish thing. She got up on the railing to show Bruno how easy it was. But she slipped. That's why Bruno wouldn't do it. So here's Martha showing Bruno, and here's where she slips. I wonder what's going to happen now. Bruno was brave. He jumped in to save her. So here's Bruno trying to save Martha because she slipped in the water. But he just was big enough. He just wasn't big enough and strong enough. Help, help, Martha and Bruno said. So he tried to save her, but she couldn't. So I wonder what's going to happen now. It was Clifford. Hooray! Clifford saved Martha and Bruno. He was big enough, so the police thanked Clifford. See, here's the police running to thank Clifford. The policemen were so happy they forgave Clifford for mashing their car. Martha said, thank you, Clifford. You are the biggest, bravest, smartest dog I know. Thank you for saving Bruno because I love him more than any other dog in the world, says Martha. And little Emily says to Clifford, I love you more than any other dog in the world, too. Now that we know who is the best dog of all, Clifford is best because he belongs to Emily Elizabeth, and Bruno is best because he belongs to Martha. And, well, guess what? That's Clifford's tricks. See? Well, Clifford was fun this month. Happy birthday, Clifford. And good happy Valentine's Day to all of you. I hope you get all your hearts and chocolates and sweets going on. And, well, that's all we have for February. And as always, when you think pink, think of me. Love you all. Alize. Ooh.